Hello, everyone. Welcome again for joining another session. I have two esteemed speakers with me. I have Atanu Pramanic, Joint President and CIO for Hindalco Group. I have Shiva Kumar, who is the Head Director of Enterprise. So, welcome everyone. In today's session, we know that pandemic has been there for a while, and hybrid future workspace has increased a lot of complexities. More than a year has passed since we are struck with this pandemic, from living in a world of uncertainty to living in a world of fastest vaccine launch and resilient posture, which is displayed by all sectors today, with almost de facto of getting work done in physical form to moving completely remote, and hence adoption of digital acceleration. Good news is that everybody has adopted this with new normal, overcoming all the complexities and diversities of technology adoption and awareness. A lot is attributed to agile and resilient network, which is the core to a digital transformation program. Atnu, I would like to understand, is the hybrid workplace the future of work? How is digital is driving a hybrid and collaborative workplace of future?
Absolutely, Pankaj. Thanks for inviting me. I think under the current situation for the last 14, 15 months now that the world is going through, we all are maturing and evolving on the probably future state of working. We have kind of raised a new terminology called new normal, right? But even then, the new normal probably is changing, evolving, maturing every single day. What was new normal in, let's say, March 2020, we kind of migrated to a different scenario around September, October, November 2020, right? Or even another 3 months, February, March 21. And then with the progression of the situation across the globe, the second session of the lockdown, if I may say so, has changed the scenario again to another new normal, right? And it seems like digital is playing and going to play a very, very critical and vital role in the new normal. The way the industries will work, barely from the transaction point of view, not necessarily the core businesses. Obviously, the core businesses will and are very much dependent on digitalization, right? The way we collect the data, the way we look at the data, the way we consume and interpret the data has changed over the last 15 months, right? The digitization and automation part of it, I'm not still going to the digitalization, right? It has taken a tremendous pace across the globe, across the industries, because of this pandemic restrictions that you cannot physically meet, you cannot physically kind of get your assets, your documentation. So everything has gone digital. Whatever was not there in the first 3 months of the pandemic, by around June, July, most of the organizations did some improvement in their processes and went digital to the extent possible, right? So so few technologies like RPA, bot, simple digital signature, scanning, OCR, these are the few technologies which obviously were getting used prior to this as well, but got a huge push to kind of express the digitization requirement, right? I think that's all, at least at the beginning. I would say that this situation has pushed the pace of the digitization, if not anything else. But with the second phase of lockdown in this year, 2021, I am hearing and I am seeing a few other areas which are emerging, which is going to stay there for a longer period of time.
Right. I think the pace of digital has gone rapidly post-pandemic and during pandemic. Shiva, you meet so many customers here. How would an IT strategy be aligned to meet these kind of new challenges?
Absolutely, Pankaj. So again, thanks for having me here along with Atanu for this conversation. I think if hearing Atanu, if you looked at closely what's changed during this pandemic, right? The pace of digital transformation is really accelerated. While CIOs like Atanu and his peers and various other CIOs that I meet continuously across the industries, all of them were on some part of the digital journey or the other. But what really changed is that the pace at which this transformation was happening, irrespective of the industry vertical, right from the BFSI to the manufacturing or to the pharma and then core other industries, this is certainly has really accelerated. But core of this transformation, if you look at it, is that the entire experience of the workforce, okay, the workloads, and as well as the workplace, so completely reimagined, right? In the pandemic, no more the users or the employees were going to the office to work. So wherever they are, whatever the device that they were using, they were seamlessly connecting to the applications which are seamlessly accessible right from the on-prem to some of them are already on the public cloud and things like that. So this particular direction in which the customers have reimagined their entire workforce, the workloads, and also workplace, this is going to change for good for long. And that has become more of a center of this the IT strategy for all the CIOs. So definitely every element of the strategy that they look at closely that how my new user going to be working from tomorrow, how my applications are going to be hosted, how they can enhance the experience of the users, both internal and external. So based on these changes, which has rapidly come into shape, will define the IT strategy. And the technologies, by the way, enable this transformation. So the technologies, right from the connectivity to the automation, to the collaboration, and the security, which is seamless across, and also the applications which are no more going to be on the on-prem, but they are all accessible anywhere the user comes from. So these are the technologies which will definitely help the CIOs to pursue this change for a longer time and for good.
Truly said, anytime, anywhere, any device as an application, and reinventing the future of work at workplace. But Atanu, as we say that we often hear user centricity and exceeding user experience have been the prime drivers of adoption of these digital technologies and their success. Now, this needs agility, it needs innovation, and a stronger risk appetite. So, what do you think is a digital roadmap that can help organizations enable faster innovation and meet the future demands?
Right. So I will just take a cue from Shiva and just upon that aspect of it, which in my previous discussion I mentioned that the second wave has given a slightly different or a slightly twisted direction to the digitalization or digitization, right? So while the first phase we have discussed the digitalization phase, the pace have been kind of pushed very hard. In the second phase, I can see the second layer of the assets, as Shiva rightly mentioned, from anywhere through any device, you should be able to access any application, right? So secured access from anywhere, any device, and your instance provisioning should also be very, I would say, agile and flexible, right? So the cloud, basically what we are hinting at. What has come into the market is the platformization, right? So from the single individual digitalization and digitization projects, which were there already last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, multiple organizations have digitization strategies, which took a pace in the first phase. In the second phase, I'm seeing a slight conglomeration or assimilation or collation of that into a platformization, right? Everyone is looking at that. I don't want to invest in VPN separately or my device separately or my instance provisioning separately. You give me let's say, I'm in absence of a better example, probably, let's say you give me a VDI, right? So VDI is expected to give you a anytime, anywhere access to your applications in a secured manner, right? So this kind of platformization is getting more pace compared to the first phase where people were still pushing the projects, but individual use cases. So that's the shift that I'm seeing in this year, last 4, 5, 6 months, right? To the immediate future, I think platformization could be the way to go, where your handoffs between multiple partners will kind of get aggregated to one platform management, while one partner will choose at the backend to kind of plug and play multiple systems and services and give you one service. And that is what is the user's expectation. When you talk of users' expectation meeting their kind of requirements, I think that is where the scenario is moving towards, right? In one shot, I can give 3, 4, 5 requirements and expectations of the user, right? So that's the platformization part of it. The other side, I am seeing that in the first phase, what I saw was more from the software side of it. Digitization using softwares, right? Now I'm seeing a slight shift towards integration of hardwares, where again it is connected to the platformization theory that I want one device through which I will be able to access all the leading video conferencing partner platforms. To name WebEx, Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, I need one device, right? It was not there even 5 months back. Beginning of the year, it was not there, but it has come to the market now. So that is what I mean from the platformization perspective, that users kind of are fed up of reaching out or accessing multiple platforms. So that is the movement that I'm seeing, that they want one platform. Let's say even the another aspect from the secured access perspective, when I again talk to my friends and peers across, I see as simple as single sign-on. This has taken a huge pace. The reason being, people are getting kind of fed up in accessing multiple applications. Every single application is having a password and an ID, right? Now, this single sign-on from, if not anything else, like earlier days of your access management, user provisioning, and all those, it is for as simple as user experience. That you have, by the virtue of digitization, given me 10 applications to log in, but I can't log in into 10 applications anymore. You give me one login ID, I'll log into as many applications as you want me to, right? So on one side, the platformization, on the other side, the aggregation of the hardwares, the user experience from making it easier for users to log in into anything that they need to from an organization perspective. These are the three very specific movements that I see in the second phase.
Very interesting platformization concept which you talked about, Atanu. Shiva, I will come to you because you work with across industries, across verticals with so many customers and end clients. What tools and technologies you see that we are evolving, adapting this growing requirement to stay ahead in the game?
Pankaj, I think if I just take the conversation that Atanu has started on the 3 aspects that he clearly mentioned, that's the voice of the CIO, typically that you see. I don't want the separate devices or standalone technologies. I need the platforms. How can I get the business outcomes and the user experience? Okay, and how do I ensure that the every platform that I'm getting into the enterprise, okay, it has to be seamlessly integrated with our existing the legacy applications, legacy infrastructure, and how can it deliver the new age applications and new age experience. So that's if I just summarize all the 3, all the underlying technologies, right from the connectivity to the automation to the making the applications available, agile, is what will be relevant for this part of the digital journey. So if I just double click on this, on each of the component, right? Collaboration, for example, is an easier thing to take as a platform. As Atanu rightly mentioned, I want to give that platform and the seamless user experience as a collaboration across the enterprise, right? For the internal users and as well as the external users, could be suppliers or their end customers and things like that. So can that technology which is being used for the collaboration be a platform rather than just a standalone one. That means the platform should have the ability to have the audio conferencing, video conferencing, web, and underlying application which can be integrated. And it is more of a collaboration platform rather than just the communication. Okay, so just to give you an example how this platform need in an enterprise can be met within a unified architecture sort of thing. Similarly, for the security, which is another area of concern and also area of opportunity for enterprises to be more secure across the domains, right from the end user to the endpoint, to the network, to the infrastructure, and also the cloud. So how do we get the security as a platform rather than just a point products in each of those segments? So those are the relevant technologies, right, from the collaboration to the security that two examples that I've taken, but it spans across the other areas of the enterprise which will be of relevant. And these technologies will actually further drive the space of digitization and innovation in the enterprises.
Very well articulated and summarized, but this concept of platformization and single service, single pane of window is accelerating the transformation. But gentlemen, user friendliness drives usability. It needs comfort, but comfort can compromise security. So Atanu, what is your vision to strike this balance of comfort and security, ensuring the secure remote work without hindering productivity? Apps are diverse, as you rightly said, and they're spread across multiple cloud environments or multi-cloud environments, and trust is becoming a challenge. How do you see that?
Absolutely. So, Pankaj, on one side, while people are adapting to the situation of work from anywhere, connecting from anywhere, data gathering and consumption from anywhere, right? While these things are the kind of the themes. Another aspect is when you are not into your official corporate network, there are certain challenges coming in, right? The perimeter security, that was the definition of older days of security, is kind of fading away, right? More and more, right? And your application security is coming in that place, right? I want to access this application and 20 users should access this application. So I'm only bothered about a zero trust access of that application, and that's it, right? So everyone in the industry are talking about zero trust. Now that zero trust also is not getting very easy from the diverse and quote unquote work from home situation, right? Let's say in a network access control scenario, right? You can whitelist your authorized devices to connect to your official corporate network. But if it is not in your corporate network, if someone is working from home, then you cannot deploy a NAC, right? There are certain features you can pretty much enable and secure your data center within your corporate network, right? But when it goes to cloud, and more so multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, right, co-location hosted platforms, right, then your perimeter security is absolutely non-existent, right? On the other side, you cannot hinder user experience by providing more latency into the experience of an application, right? So you have to be on one side, platformization. On one side, you need to think of your user experience. On the other side, you have to have 100% zero trust configuration, right? I don't know, but maybe the answer lies with people like Cisco and Shiva can add more light to that. But this is the ask of the generation right now, of the users right now, that you are talking about zero trust, security, MFA, all those things. But hey, be careful. I don't want to delay my access. It cannot go more than 2 milliseconds. You cannot ask me 10 milliseconds to log in because you are checking my authenticity at the back end, right? So these are the challenges which are coming in. User experience is becoming the key. right? And I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
Perfect. Right. Because user friendliness and acceptable policy of users versus compromising security. Shiva, can you throw some light on changing this entire application landscape? Because earlier some of these applications were on-prem for a purpose, but pandemic is driving so much of the change. So there is a huge landscape change happening on application, because it is also becoming more like application anytime, anywhere, anywhere access on any device, any form factors. How do you see this change, Shiva, on the application side of the journey?
Yeah. So if I may have to put this very boldly, applications are the business right now. And I will just qualify the statement. Any business, okay, not necessarily the digital or a core IT business, if you'd like to take even the manufacturing or any other business, now for them, the applications are more important to run the business and innovate further and ensure that they hold the customers and also grow their business. So when the applications are becoming part of their core business as such, irrespective of the industry vertical, it is important that what are these enterprises doing aboard to ensuring that application experience is absolutely flawless. Okay, it could be internal users or the external users. So the right balance that Atanu said is that we need to ensure that the security is absolutely not compromised, but at the same time, ensure that don't add any latency to the application, because that's where the experience of that application comes into picture. So if we have to do this quite well, obviously we will have to look at this holistically rather than point by point products or technologies that can enhance. So we will have to look at the entire security as an architecture in the enterprise, right from the users to the infrastructure to the application, to ensure that this is seamless. But at the same time, how do we ensure that we have the full visibility across the application lifecycle? Okay, so that we know that where things have gone wrong are going to be a bad in terms of impact on the experience of these applications, and then act on it proactively. What I mean is the full stack visibility into the applications, because to access the application, we will have to get the full visibility in terms of where the user is coming from. They come on a network, which could be the public network, including internet. And these applications are hosted on the public cloud or the infrastructure on-prem. So can we have the visibility end-to-end into the infrastructure, to the network, to also the application? So that basically gives the ability for the enterprises to really address those challenges within this entire application landscape and ensure that the application experience is flawless and then superior for them to run their business, because end of the day, application of business.
Very well articulated and summarized, but nonetheless, as we see, the dynamics of the workplace is already changing, and future hybrid workplace is going to stay for a while, and looks like this could become a permanent solution to what all we were doing earlier before the pandemic era. With this, thank you everyone for joining in, and it was a very insightful conversation to understand the future workplace and the theme of what it is stored in the nature.